A lot of iconic brands didn't fail because people stopped caring. They failed because they stopped evolving. So today I'm reviving dead companies with modern minimalist branding to see if they'd survive today. First up, let's fix Blockbuster, the once beloved rental retailer. But today, dead. It does actually exist today in a way, and here's what it looks like. And Netflix has not stopped coming for other companies. Anyway, moving on. First, we're going to add our text, and I think it was 2026. Blockbuster is just simply too long of a name today. So we're going to shorten it, like every streaming service, to Block Plus. And we're going to keep to the old Blockbuster branding with blues and yellows, but we're going to split around this time. Let's add in a nice yellow rectangle behind it. And to make our text stand out, let's add some stroke to it. Let's get a bit of 3D but modern look as well. So adding all this depth and colours helps it feel authentic and true to the original logo, which is what I want. I want to honour these companies. If they were still around today, what would they look like? And now we want to connect these up so it all just feels a bit more together. We need something that really stands out on a TV remote or on your smart TV. And it is 2026, so the more simple your logo is, the more likely it is to catch attention. We do not want to overwhelm the average consumer. Now that that's done, I actually don't think it stands out enough still. So I'm just going to add another stroke layer to it that's slightly darker but not too dark, more of a browny colour. Now that I'm looking at it here, there's a few bits I just want to smooth out overall, and I think I'm going to make that a bit more colourful. And then we just want to add a shadow to make the whole thing stand out a bit more. And I've made that shadow slightly red. Now I think the only thing this logo needs is a bit more separation, and for that we're going to add another shadow. And Bob's your uncle. Now, I reckon if Blockbuster was still around today and it was a streaming service, I think this would be pretty cool branding for it personally. We've kept true to the original and we've tried not to oversimplify it too much. On to the next thing, because Netflix has the famous HBO has their intro logo as well, so I'm going to animate a quick logo reveal that will play before a Block original show on Block Plus. So the first thing I want to do in After Effects is drag our logo in. I want a mask that's going to reveal the yellow box behind our text. So that's what this shape layer is here for. I've set our yellow box with a track map to this shape layer so that when I move it down, it reveals it. And adjust our keyframe so that it's nice and smooth. And then I want to reveal the blue behind it. And for that, I need a really big circle for the way I'm going to animate it in. We're going to change our logo the tiniest bit for this because I think a gradient blue would work better than a solid blue here. This is how it looks without a gradient. And this is how it looks with a gradient. It just feels a bit more cinematic, and only the best shows will be going on Block Plus, so we need a bit more cinematic feel for it. But it's not going to be blue from the start. We need to animate this in. So I want it to start off as a small circle and eventually get bigger and fill the whole of the screen. And again, I'm going to keyframe that so it's really nice and smooth. Now that it's keyframed, it looks like this, and I think that's really nice. I think with it expanding as a circle, it really shows off the gradient nicely. Because from here, you can't quite tell, but eventually, as it gets bigger on the top and the bottom of the screen, you can really see the difference in colours. If we look at it from the start, it all just feels a bit stagnant. The beginning especially doesn't feel very fluid. So I'm just going to mess about with some animations here. I want it to get smaller and then expand just before the thing comes in. I'm not in love with how a yellow box comes in, so I'm going to try and mess about with that. And instead of it going from top to bottom, I'm going to try it going from left to right, because I feel that makes use of the space a bit better. I think it looks a lot better if it starts off really round and flattens out towards the end. I'll be honest, I think the white background's too harsh, so I'm replacing it for a slightly more off-white yellow background. I think it looks a lot cleaner. The only thing I think is missing now is probably a glow on this circle reveal here. Now I think it all needs a bit more movement, so I've done some keyframing here just to make the whole thing feel as fluid as possible. The one thing about Netflix is that it feels like there's always constant smooth movement, so I've tried to replicate that in a way here, but still keep Block Plus as its own thing. Now that I'm finished with this brand revival, I'm really happy with it. I like the logo that I did. I'm happy with the animation for the logo reveal because they're not something I'm super comfortable with making, but I do think it would hold up before watching a Block Plus original. Comment down below what shows you think would go on Block Plus. I'm imagining some sort of live action Terraria TV series. What do you think?